Hello, guys, and welcome to Matt Stories. The first story of today is: will I be the a hole if I cut my parents out of my life because they hold it against me that I didn't grieve my brother the same way they did? I, 18 years old, male, was born an identical twin, and when me and my brother Cam were 4, he was diagnosed with cancer. Our parents, for the next 3.5 years, devoted their lives to saving Cam. They were told after a year his diagnosis was terminal and there was nothing that would ever cure him. But they never gave up. They put him into a bunch of clinical trials and got second, third, fourth, and even fifth opinions. They borrowed money of everyone they could and took out loans to afford different doctors. In those years, everything was centered around what he wanted and what would make him happy, including our shared bedroom. We were given a double bunk bed where he got the double bed and I got the single top bunk. Our room was decorated with all his favorite cartoon characters. Our parents dressed us identically in his choice of clothes when we had been allowed to pick our own clothes. Our birthdays were his birthdays only, and even though Cam tried to include me in the last two, he wasn't able to because our parents were determined to make the most of him. It was rough, and to be honest, it was lonely back then. I loved my brother and he loved me, but our parents would be in and out of our room all night checking on him and ignoring me. They'd wake me up when they had to give Cam meds or wanted to monitor his blood pressure or temperature. Even if I stared or asked what was going on, they ignored me. There were days I went to school exhausted and I used to fall asleep in school. And then Cam died the one night we shared the bottom bunk with each other. My parents were so mad that I didn't get them when Cam wanted me during the night. They were furious with me. They accused me several times of robbing them of his final moments. After Cam died, our room became a shrine to him. It wasn't supposed to be touched or changed at all. I was kept in the single bunk, and his double part was kept in the same bedclothes as the night he died. Whenever I looked at it too much, they would get mad at me. They'd say it was his bunk, not mine. Even 10 years after that, they would say how awful I was to want to steal Cam's bed from him. The one and only time I asked if the room could be redecorated was because I was older and wanted a more grown up room. They almost killed me, I swear. I don't know why they didn't attack me, but they moved like they would, and looked like they would. They did yell a lot, and they made several accusations like I never loved Cam. I was trying to raise him. I hated them and stomped all over their grief. It was intense. They told me I knew I liked the room being as it always was, so I was selfish for asking to take that away from them. When I asked to move out of the room, it was another thing they had against me and hated me for it. The room, being my bedroom, still felt so wrong. I was surrounded by Cam and suffocated by his memory, and they just saw it as me hating him. They said I needed to be in Cam's room because I was always in there and it couldn't change. I preferred to remember him on our birthday. My parents completely ignored our birthday and me that day and only wanted to remember his anniversary, and they got so upset when it wasn't my focus. This stuff and way more was thrown in my face all the time while I still lived there. I tried talking to others about it, who talked to my parents, and it just never changed anything. They didn't want help. They didn't want to accept that I could grieve differently than them. I went to stay with a friend's family the day before my birthday, and I haven't gone back since. I didn't block my parents either, and whenever I see them, I don't ignore they're there. But I kind of wonder if I need to. I don't think they're good for me, and they accused me of abandoning them of the times I saw them. I guess, in a way, I have, because I feel like I need to. But would I be the a hole if I cut them out of my life because of everything? Well, this is one of those cases where obviously OP is not the a-hole, it's the parents, and they they haven't understand it yet, but they have already lost both sons, unfortunately. On we go to our second story of the day. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to help my mom and her fiance with his disabled child? I, 20 years old male, moved out of my mom's 42 years old female house a couple of years ago when I went to college. Until 10 months ago, I had my own room there, but her fiance, 45 male, and his two kids, 6 and 4 years old, moved in with her. The 4-year-old has a host of disabilities. I know they have a seizure disorder and a condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, but I believe there's another one involving paralysis or spasms of the stomach or esophagus. My mom took classes for over 2 months before her fiance moved in, so she could know how to take care of his daughter. Her fiance's ex is totally out of the picture, so mom decides she would need to step up completely, which I get. I have been back twice since mom's fiance moved in with his kids. The first time was at Christmas, and I stayed with my grandparents because my old room went to the 4-year-old kid, and there was no spare room for me. My mom was disappointed, but I pointed out it would stop me getting in the way of their routine too. The second time was late June, early July. I was home for a few weeks and again stayed with my grandparents. Mom offered to buy a pull-out bed for me, but I said I was good with my grandparents. When I was home and whenever I went to mom's, I was asked if I had looked into taking the same classes mom had, or if I'd like them to set me up with them. I said no and asked why I'd need to take them. Mom said she had hoped I would want to help them. She said it would mean I could step in if an emergency came up, and I told Mom she'd better to find someone professional for that, because I was not taking on that responsibility. Her fiance asked if I'm just never going to stay at house, and I said yes. I told them I would have zero privacy if I slept there, and it wouldn't benefit any of us. I pointed out how they'd be so busy anyway, that I wouldn't have time with mom that much, and I'd just get as much staying somewhere else, and planning ahead of time to visit when she's not super busy. Her fiance then said it sounded like I didn't want to learn how to take care for his daughter and planned to be limitedly involved with him and his kids. I said I'll see them when I see mom, but I won't be signing up for babysitting or future caregiver responsibilities. Mom and I went for a walk together after I said that, and she told me she got it, but that she hoped I'd be willing. She said it's a lot to ask, and I don't even live that close anymore, so it would never be all the time. But she asked me if I was really that unwilling to even give them a few hours off when I would visit. She said it would be so helpful. I told her I would visit and want to spend time with her, but babysitting her future stepkids was not in my plans, and especially not one so medically complex and in need of specific care. She was upset, but let it go. Her fiance is holding a grudge about it. He brought it up to my grandparents when Christmas was brought up. They said they got the feeling he was also annoyed they gave me a place to stay during my visits because it gives me an excuse not to get closer to his kids, and therefore to be more willing to learn how to take care of his daughter. Am I the a-hole? No, is OP the a-hole? I don't think so. That's a half-asky for anyone, let alone someone who doesn't even live there and didn't sign up for it. If the family has any need for respite care or something like that, well, they should get some professionals to do it, not some 20-year young college student who has a lot in his life to take care for. So, yeah, I think it's good that OP was clear instead of half committing or something like that. And now for our last star of the day. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they've shown favoritism and now being essentially disowned after the birth of my second child? My wife and I just had our second child. Well, congratulations, OP. Leading up to the birth, we had asked my parents to come support us a couple of weeks after the due date because our older daughter is starting kindergarten, which we knew would be a major transition for her. My mom had been in communication with my wife earlier in the year about when they'd be most needed. It was clear their presence that week would mean a lot. Then, in June, my mom casually dropped that they had forgotten they already committed to watching my sister's dog while she and her husband took a vacation and they couldn't change it. I got upset and said I felt blindsided. It kicked off a months-long back and forth where I tried to explain that this felt like another instance of my sister being prioritized, something I've felt for most of my life, even if it was never explicitly acknowledged. I tried again just recently to explain why this was painful, and that it felt like I was being told again that I was less important. Dad acknowledged that my sister and I were treated differently, but brushed it off as, well, she was a girl and you were a boy, adding that I'd learned this as well, implying it was normal for different treatment to reflect gender, as if that justified everything. My father eventually exploded in anger during the call and hung up on me, as I tried to explain a few other circumstances that had occurred and how it made me feel. Also pointed out that if things were reversed, I would have received a freak no, and knowledge of that alone would preclude me from even request they watch my dogs, in lieu of being there for the birth of my sibling's child. Now I have no idea what to do. I feel like unless I completely accept their version of events, that they've always treated us equally, that this was just a scheduling issue, then I'm effectively out of the family. So, am I the a-hole for not letting it go, especially now that they are older and time with them is limited? Well, you guys tell me in the comment section. If you'd like the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and until our next story.